We're looking at this whole situation surrounding Brynjar Leo.
Yeah.
And, right off the bat, we've got to say the sources here are all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some firsthand accounts, which is great. But then a lot of it's like scattered online, bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah, it's like trying to put together a puzzle, but like with half the pieces missing.
Right. And it doesn't help that, the picture on the box keeps changing too.
Exactly. A lot of conflicting information flying around.
Exactly. So our goal here, right, is to try and piece together, I guess, the clearest picture we can get.
Right.
But, got to stay objective. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Got to be super careful with this one.
Yeah, with this kind of stuff, you can't just, jump to conclusions. So to kind of kick things off, let's talk about this break-in.
Right.
So the story goes, Brynjar's found inside this house, right? A place he obviously shouldn't be. And he's completely out of it, like seriously messed up on like OxyContin and Xanax.
Wow.
Yeah, heavy stuff. You'd think, just on the surface, that'd be the main focus, right? Breaking and entering under the influence.
Yeah, for sure.
But here's where it gets, kind of strange. The police, they seem way more interested in questioning him about, get this, a child predatory case, like from before.
Huh. That's definitely a twist. So he's like totally out of it, but they're asking him about this other case.
Yeah, and it makes you think, right? Even in that state. What's going through his head? What memories or anxieties are like getting triggered by them bringing this up,
Right. Like whatever this child predatory case is, it's obviously got some kind of hold on him.
Totally. And, the fact that he's completely messed up on drugs but still shows fear, that suggests, I think, that there's something deeper there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then on top of all that, they just let him go. No charges for the broken?
Yeah, I know, right?
So it's like, what's the priority here? You almost wonder if they see the broken as like less important because of this other case.
Almost like the break-in was like a side note or something.
Right, exactly.
Then you add in this whole other layer, right? We've got these anonymous sources popping up online.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and they're claiming that Brynjar's like a known pedophile in Iceland.
Whoa.
Yeah, and they're making some really serious accusations, talking about, drugging, assaults, even mentioning a couple of police reports filed by, also anonymous victims.
Okay, so, obviously that's super heavy stuff.
Yeah.
But, you got to remember, like, with the internet, especially when it comes to this kind of stuff, anonymity, it can be a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like, it can protect people, who are vulnerable and scared to come forward, but it also makes it really easy to spread misinformation, to make accusations without any real accountability.
That's true. It's like, how do you sift through all that and figure out what's real and what's not?
Right. It's all about like critical thinking, looking for patterns, corroborating information, and asking yourself, who benefits from this narrative? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Like, who's pushing this story and why?
Exactly.
And that's what makes this whole thing so tricky. Because Brynjar, he's claiming that these accusers, they're actually stalkers, that they're making false accusations.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So on the one hand, you've got these really serious accusations, and on the other, you've got Brynjar saying it's all lies.
So we're basically stuck in this, like, he said, she said situation.
It's a tough one. Where does that leave us?
Honestly, in a very, very murky situation. We've got two sides, both making strong claims, but like we're missing that crucial piece, We don't have concrete evidence to say definitively who's telling the truth.
Yeah.
And, this really highlights like the need for a proper investigation, right? For evidence-based conclusions. We can't just go off of like hearsay and conjecture, especially with something this serious. What are your thoughts on that?
It makes me think about like how this lack of clarity, it impacts how we view Brynjar, right, in the whole situation.
Right.
Like, is he a victim of these false accusations, or is there truth to what these anonymous people are saying?
Yeah, it's a big question mark hanging over everything.
Yeah, it really is. And, then there's the whole thing with Brynjar's background, right?
Yeah, what about it?
Well, we know he lost his father when he was like 12 years old. And at least according to one source, he tends to use that as an excuse for his actions. Which, obviously losing a parent at that age, that's incredibly tough, right?
Absolutely. It's a huge thing to deal with.
Yeah. But, I mean, where do you draw the line? Like, how do we acknowledge, the impact of past trauma, but also, like, hold people accountable for their actions in the present?
It's a tough question, for sure. And, it's something that we, like, as a society, we got to grapple with, not just in this case, but in any situation where past trauma and present actions are, they're all tangled up together. It's about looking at the full picture, the whole person.
Yeah.
And even thinking about the break-in, right? I mean, that information, it came from someone who was, like, anonymously playing video games online.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So that just shows you, like, how varied the credibility of our sources is.
Oh, absolutely. We're dealing with everything from, potential police reports to anonymous online comments.
Right. It's a wild mix.
Yeah. And I think, what we've tried to do here is, well, we've tried to lay out all the information we've got, all the different pieces of the puzzle, and just, encourage you guys to think critically about it all.
Right. Don't just take our word for it. Do your own research. Think for yourselves.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, we're dealing with, like, a lot of unknowns here. It's incomplete information.
Right. It's like a puzzle with missing pieces, and we might never find them all.
Yeah, and I think the important thing is to just, to recognize the limitations of what we do know, and to not rush to judgment.
Totally. Keep an open mind.
Yeah. So as we kind of wrap things up here, I want to leave you guys with this question. How does this lack of a clear resolution, right, this uncertainty, how does it affect how we understand Brynjar and all these events?
Yeah. What would we need to know? What kind of evidence would we need to reach a more, I guess, a more solid conclusion?
Yeah, think about that.
It's a lot to chew
It
on.
really is.
This case, it's a real head scratcher.
Yeah, it is. Well, thanks for diving in with us today.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.